Hello. I have some things I wanted to share with you because I've really been thinking quite a bit about why we struggled so much with students getting work completed in the online format when we were quarantined. It was a huge leap to go from in-person teaching to online teaching 100% of the time. And a lot of our students did not make that leap. Some of the teachers may not have made it either because they were not comfortable in the online format. I kind of jumped into some research and went down a rabbit hole and really thought about what was going on. And I was part of a training and heard a speaker, Mr. Jim Burke, mentioned something about Krashen's affective filters, and I was like, bam, that's it. That is what's going on for a lot of our students. So Krashen's theory is that we have an affective filter that is a lot of times emotionally charged that keeps us in between. It's a barrier in between what we're supposed to be doing and learning and whether or not we can bring that and internalize it. And so I started thinking, holy cow, we know that the affective filter that Krashen was speaking about was kind of and this is rudimentary, so just stick with me. That guy flipped me off driving into school today. Girl was rude to me in the hall. I didn't get the homework done for algebra. I'm not sure I understand what's happening in this poem. I wonder if I can get out of the parking lot today at lunch in time to go and eat what I want. That's 5 separate barriers that a student might have been carrying. That's an affective filter, where the emotional balance is keeping students away from the learning that they need to do, because they're thinking about all this other stuff. Every human being does that. And so I started thinking, oh my goodness, learning a second language is a whole lot like learning to learn online. It's a second kind of skill that many students did not have because it's something we have to specifically teach. And so I started thinking, oh my goodness, I have messed this up big time for my students. And so I went back and looked in my Google Classroom, and here are exact directions that I had typed up in my classroom. So imagine this is a digital affective layer in between my students being able to learn and succeed and what they're actually doing. Step 1, go to Google Classroom. You should have that bookmarked. Step 2, go to Assignment X, if you can find it. Step 3, open a Google Slideshow. Step 4, make a copy, if you can do that successfully. Step 5, drop the link from the Flipgrid video that you already made talking about your independent reading. Take that link and put it in the slideshow. Submit your copy of the slideshow into the assignment box. Can you see how thick that is? Look at how far removed we are from the actual thing of a student talking to me about what they read, which is what we do in the classroom. So you can see how far away, how many filters we have there between us and the learning. Once I had that epiphany, I thought, what can we do at the beginning of the year? Because some kids are not going to have any problem at all. They'll be able to follow those directions, but we're going to have to be very specific, I think, and very simplified in some of our directions to make sure that they're getting it. Because in a lot of ways, this type of learning is very different, and I think that's where a lot of them dropped off. And so I'm going to share my screen with you. I came up with a list of suggestions, and I'm just learning. This is not comprehensive. This is just, one teacher doing some research, doing some thinking over the summer, trying to think about how to make sure this can be better for us and the students. So here's my list. And, at the beginning of instruction of each cohort group, so let's say if I have my students for an entire year, then I would do this once. If I have my students, for a semester, then I may have to begin again, being very implicit. Just because they learned something last year, like they learned to do a lot with Google Docs last year, doesn't mean that that is going to carry through, because we know that a lot of skills may get rusty over the summer. Ask your students at the beginning with maybe a survey or something. Hey, how do you feel about Google Docs? Are you pretty good in classroom? Figure out their self-efficacy. How efficient do they feel about a specific skill? Try to remove as many digital filters as possible, especially at the beginning of terms. You may need to specifically teach how to use Flipgrid in one lesson, how to upload a link into Flipgrid, into Google Slide might be another lesson. In bite-sized pieces, give your students the information they need in order to feel more successful. The more successful they're able to feel, the better off they're going to do. We have some damage control to happen here at the beginning of the 2020 fall semester. So keep that in mind as you're planning, please. Provide written, audio, and/or visual directions that students can refer back to easily. I know that for me, I'll be switching to Canvas from Google Classroom, so I'm going to figure out a way to pin these directions so that way students can have the step-by-step instructions that they need in order to take care of business and get their assignments in. With those directions, make sure that you include directionality for our language learners and our students who have different learning abilities, such as go to the blue icon on the bottom left of the screen. But keep in mind, look at number 4. Remember that some students will be trying to do all their work on a smartphone or on a tablet because, we can't always have our Chromebooks charged and ready to go, and things happen and life occurs. So keep that in mind because their screen may look very differently even though they're in the right program. Encourage students to be fearless. They're not going to crash the system. Have them take a deep breath. You are not going to destroy this program. Click around, figure it out. It's going to be okay. Assess the students after you've had them for a couple weeks. How are you feeling about Google Forms? Shall we add more information onto it now? Instead of just slamming them with everything that we've been planning over the summer and we're so excited to finally get our students back. Take your time and work them through it step by step and ask them repeatedly, how are you feeling about these programs now? If students get lost, always have them screencast or video or audio record where they're at and share their screen with you. It's such an easy fix overall. They can take their phone and say, Miss Jennings, this is how my screen looks right now. I don't know how to get out of it. I don't know where to go now. Also, nothing wrong with them screencasting it or inviting you to a quick Google Meet. Add technology slowly in the beginning and give yourselves time to adjust and feel successful. Also, teach explicitly the use of video recording as soon as possible. Screencast, how to record Google Meets, and Flipgrid. I'm sure there's lots of other possibilities. Those are just my 3 that I know I've got in my toolbox that I can pull out for students. And please keep in mind that parents, siblings, and other community members may be helping our students with their schoolwork. Many are going to be language learners or have limited positive educational experiences, so please keep your language and directions simple. During any videoed lessons or instructions, keep in mind this may not be the best time for you to show off your vocabulary. Keep everything as simplified as possible, as much as possible, especially in the beginning of this semester, so that way we have a chance to get acclimated into a learning environment once again, and that we can feel some success to remove some of these filters from our students. So that's what I got. It's just an idea. It's just some thinking I've been doing over how we can possibly help our students the best way possible. Let me know if I can help at all. I know we're going to have a fantastic year. We're on the precipice of brand new education, everything. And I'm so excited to have this opportunity with you. Help each other, be kind, be patient. We got this. Thanks, y'all.